Like my new Christmas mug? My grandmother gave me this. She said, because you're always talking about how much coffee you drink. True. Good morning and shout out to Shakespeare Magazine. I don't know if you can see my new shirt here from Shakespeare Magazine. So excited about that. You guys sent me an awesome book too that came with the shirt. It was lovely. What a wonderful little package they have over there. So go check that out. Great fun for all people who love Shakespeare for sure. This week on Did Shakespeare, we are going to be asking the question, did Shakespeare have a wife? Yes, in fact, Shakespeare did have a wife. Her name was Anne Hathaway. This is one of the more popular facts about Shakespeare. So you may have heard that he was indeed married to a lady named Anne Hathaway. But here's a few facts about her that you may not have known. She was born in 1556, which makes her about 8 years older than William Shakespeare. And while we don't know exactly how they met to start with, there are some rumors that suggest Shakespeare was dating more than one woman at the time. And I guess he decided he liked Anne Hathaway best because on November 28th of 1582, they got married. Now, the interesting part of their marriage is that Anne Hathaway was pregnant with their first child when they got married. She was about 3 months pregnant because 6 months later, they would give birth, or she would give birth to their first daughter, Susanna. Some interesting facts about 17th century marriage is that pregnancy was part of what's called a hand-fast agreement. Now, this was kind of a probationary marriage or a precursor to marriage. So when you read about William Shakespeare's marriage to Anne Hathaway, their marriage was kind of hurried. It wasn't this big lavish affair that we think of marriages today. It was they went to the courthouse and they got married, or at least that's what the historical records indicate. A lot of historians will say that, oh, William Shakespeare married her really fast because they were pregnant. And while it was illegal to give birth outside of marriage, to have a child outside of wedlock was actually illegal in the 17th century. It was not illegal to be pregnant outside of marriage. In fact, pregnancy was considered an informal marriage. It was basically, I've agreed to marry you, almost a understood part of the betrothal process. So while their marriage may have been short and quick, it wasn't necessarily from threat from Anne Hathaway's father that we think of today. A lot of modern marriages have happened because the woman gets pregnant and a father comes along and insists that you get married. And a long time ago, this used to be done at the insistence of a shotgun, which is why we have the term shotgun marriage. And that's been applied to William and Anne's wedding. So while it's entirely possible that they did get married quickly on purpose, it was likely due to practical and cultural reasons as opposed to pressure from her family. After they got married, William and Anne had a house in Stratford, and while William would go to London to build his career as a playwright, Anne would stay there and raise the children. This was a common relationship and a common role for women of the time. If you had children, obviously they had to be cared for, and it was usually the wife that did this, and in William and Anne's marriage, that was what she did. So she stayed in Stratford to raise the children while William went to London to make his fortune. Now, this is another interesting fact of their relationship that I think often gets misread by modern eyes. So a modern reader will look at the story and think, oh, Anne stayed in Stratford to raise the children, and then that somehow means that William didn't really love her or that he disrespected her. And that, to me, is a misreading of the story. When, in fact, Anne probably chose this life. She probably said, this is what I want to do with my life, is stay here and raise our children. And you can see that Shakespeare loved her because after he made his fortune in London, he came back to Stratford and bought the second largest home in the city where he and Anne would live until Shakespeare's death in 1616. Anne Hathaway would actually outlive William Shakespeare by another 7 years, dying the same year that the first folio was published in 1623. So when you read about history, and certainly when you read about marriages, it's important to read it in context of when they lived and what the lifestyle and culture of the people were when they lived. Because when you apply modern mindsets and worldviews and opinions to relationships and people to a reading of a historical account, you're liable to misunderstand what you see. What, love? Did you hurt your toe?
No, something hit me off.
Yes. As you might have noticed, we took a short break because my 3-year-old, soon to be 3-year-old, he turns 3 at the end of this week. I have a Curious George birthday party planned. What I wanted to tell you about before you go is that over on the website at castedcash.com, I have a 2018 Shakespearean calendar. I made this specifically for you because I know that you love Shakespeare and you would love to spend every single month of the next year learning about Shakespeare. So this calendar features historical photos from famous actors that have performed Shakespearean roles, famous places in Shakespeare's life, monuments to Shakespeare, pictures of Shakespeare himself, and every single month is crammed full of a quote from one of Shakespeare's plays or sonnets that is unique to the month in which it appears. I'm very excited about this calendar. I have it printed and hanging in my office, and I hope that you will print it and hang it at your house too. It is completely free. It's my gift to you to say thank you for being here each week and watching Did Shakespeare along with me. So I'll see you guys next week. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and I will keep making more, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.